4 things my abusive ex-husband used to say that were eerily similar to what the cult that I grew up in used to say to me. Hello, I'm Lydia. I grew up in a cult within the Mormon church that was led by my grandmother and went directly from living with my cult family to moving in with my husband that I had met only 6 months ago. And I wrote a book about it, split a double memoir. Number 1, after just a couple of weeks of meeting the person who is now my ex-husband, he told me that I loved him, that God had already told him that I did, and I just needed to find that out from God, but he already knew that I loved him via God. And when you grow up Mormon, you learn to never doubt stuff from God. And just like the cult that I grew up in, I was told all the time things about myself that, for instance, my mother would get revelation from God about something about me that was news to me. Like that I had been kidnapped and brainwashed by a band of Satan worshipers. And like I didn't remember this, but God told her so. So it must be true. Thing number 2, my abusive ex-husband would tell me that he knew better about how I felt about things than I knew how I felt about things. And that's love. And in my cult, all the time, I would be told that I was scared of something. And even though I didn't feel scared right then, I was told that I was scared. So I guess I'm scared. They knew better about how I felt than I knew about how I felt. 'Cause that's love. Thing number 3, when my abusive husband would hear me start to tell a story to someone else about myself, like if we had friends that we were feeling close to and I was sharing a story about myself, he would immediately interrupt me. And instead, he would start telling the friends the story about myself. And I would just listen to him tell the story how he wanted to tell it about me. And in my cult, as a little kid, I would sit down on a couch next to my grandmother, and she would call person after person after person, and I would listen to her tell stories about me to other people, stories of horrible things happening, like needles in my eyes and the Satan worshipers taking me and breaking my spine over and over. And I wasn't allowed to tell these stories about myself. I was only allowed to listen for hours on end as she, my cult leader grandmother, would tell the stories about me to other people. Because love! And thing number 4, my abusive ex-husband would tell me to do things that were like really bad for me. For instance, he thought it would be cool to be with other women, but he felt bad about that because we were married. But then he would feel bad about divorcing me because then he would be the bad guy. So he suggested that I unalive myself, then he could be with other women and he could be the good guy. And instead of feeling understandably angry that someone was telling me to unalive myself for their benefit, I felt really grateful that he was willing to share something so deep and personal with me. And in the cult that I grew up in, I was told to do things that were bad for me, like for instance, not trust anyone, outside of the cult of course, and believe that everyone was trying to unalive me, that they were secret Satan worshipers. And I wasn't angry about being isolated. I was so grateful that they would tell me these things for my safety. 'Cause of love. So if you've ever been in a relationship with a narcissist, I would be interested to hear if it was also kind of culty. And I would highly recommend relearning what real love is before God tells somebody to snatch you up.